Some of the earliest memories I have with my dad are just being at home or being out on our boat and playing games. He loved cards and he taught me how to play gin rummy, poker, solitaire, backgammon, and just really had that quality time together and just, always wanted his kids around. And every time we'd walk by him, he'd need a hug or a kiss. It was a rule. And just a wonderful, wonderful childhood. Great dad. We are in the Stockyards of Fort Worth at the John Wayne and American Experience exhibit. It's a collection of memorabilia from my dad's life, personal life, career, personal photos, correspondence, surprises here and there, and you really get to know the man behind the actor and his life work. So here we have one of his Pontiac Grand Safari custom station wagons that he used to drive on a daily basis. This was the one they had on the ranch, but as you can see, he was a tall guy, but he had a long body, shorter legs and a long body, and he liked to wear his hat. So he had to have the roof raised to accommodate. He loved going for drives. He was a little bit of a crazy driver. And every time he'd come to a stoplight, he'd be like, whoa, like it was a horse. And he was really cute, but there were seat belts, but we didn't really wear them back then. And by my house, they have these S-curves. And I think on purpose, he'd take the S-curves and he'd go one way and then the other way, and I'd slide one way and then I'd slide the other way. And he loved driving. We lived in Newport Beach, California, and he'd be like, let's go get an Orange Julius. He loved Orange Julius. And they were down on the peninsula, and you could take a little boat ferry, a car ferry, across. So we'd take the ferry and we'd go over to the fun zone and we'd play skee ball and we'd get Orange Julius, ride the Ferris wheel. Really great memories, and that was our transportation. So there's a picture of me right here getting in the car. This was by where we kept our boat, Lido Yacht Anchorage. And looks like I have a bag of candy or something, and I've either just shut the door or I'm getting in, but got in and out of this car many times. I think we all had different experiences. My older brothers and sisters, obviously he was very young when they were born and he was working all the time, and he was 59 when I was born, and he was still working, but it wasn't as much. And so we got to spend a lot of time together. He was able to take me to school, watch me play tennis. I was very lucky in the fact that I had probably more daily time with him, but unfortunately, I was very young when he passed. I was on a few sets, very young, but he was professional. He knew the way that he wanted the scene to go. Whether or not he agreed with the director, there would be heated arguments. And I just remember, when I'm on set, I need to stay in my place, be in the background. We would talk about stuff later in the day, but he was the ultimate professional. As a father, he was very involved. He wanted us to be healthy and wanted us to respect our family, just God, country, family, other people. He was very respectful of anybody. Say please, say thank you, say pardon me. Really, he gave respect and he commanded respect as well. He was a softie, he was a teddy bear, he was funny, he had a great sense of humor. I think a lot of people would be surprised. You just can't get it out in a paragraph or a few sentences how special and how unique he was. This is my mother. I believe this is close to the night they met, around that time, and she was an actress in Peru and he was down there looking for film sets, and they met, and she pulled out her guitar and started playing, and she was Latin and gorgeous and had this great, she'd not only play the guitar, she'd like bang on it and use it as a drum, and she played the castanets. And so obviously she left an impression upon him. They ran into each other a year later or so. She came up to Hollywood to do some post-production work on the film, And he ran into her and he said, "I know you, I remember you, you're Pilar Payete. Please have dinner with me." And she agreed, and before that dinner, he sent her this beautiful 1954 Martin guitar. And it sounds beautiful. It's just a very rich sounding, easy to play guitar. This is a model of our boat, the Wild Goose, which is pictured behind. He bought this. It's a converted minesweeper, 136 feet long. We have these wonderful home movies, which you'll see. There's my mom, Myrna Saftig. So these are their friends and just, life on the boat, drinking coffee, playing cards in the afternoon, coming back after a long day of fishing, taking a nap on the Hickey, and just, really wonderful times before there were cell phones and everyone was checking their emails and Instagram, and you really had time to connect and to enjoy the beautiful ocean, the beautiful scenery. And today, still when I dream about him, we're on the boat. We had so much fun. We'd go to Catalina on the weekends, we'd go to Mexico in the summers, and we would meet her up in Seattle in the summertime and take her up the coast of British Columbia, up into Alaska, where that's a photo of me and the polar bear, stuffed polar bear. So lots of good times, good memories, fishing, water skiing, jumping, diving off the top, getting into trouble that I can't talk about on camera with my brother and I. We'd still be grounded, but just having so much fun. So it was very important to him to serve his country, and he respected the military and the men that were out on the front lines and sacrificing for our freedoms. And he wanted to make sure that he did his part. So he did a lot of traveling, USO tours. He just loved people. He loved meeting people. And he was very political. One of his best friends was Ronald Reagan. You see him pictured there with Ronald and Nancy, and they were long life friends.
Believe me that Duke Wayne was very often at political gatherings and so forth, and most supportive of me, and I was very grateful to him for it. And he was typical John Wayne when things happened, for or against.
He loved Reagan. I don't think he had political aspirations. People would ask him all the time, and he would just be like, it doesn't pay enough, joking. But I remember him calling Jimmy Carter, and I remember him, when Reagan was governor, him having conversations. I believe Nancy Reagan said they talked to each other every day.
And I remember in campaigning and so forth, and press questions directed to him regarding the campaign, that he was as strong as anyone could be.
He really has come to epitomize that American hero in a right, true sense of that word, hero.
Yes. It was deservedly so.
Well, I believe he was so patriotic because he truly loved this country, and he was the American dream. You work hard, you can achieve whatever you want to if you put in the muscle behind it. And this is a video of his spoken word, America, Why I Love Her, which is a tribute to the country that he loved. And each poem is spoken and it's to music. And we now have a series of Lil Duke books with these songs, and it's just, it's his tribute to the country that he loved so much. And he loved Texas. He loved being in Texas. My mother's sister lived in Dallas, so we would come here often, and he had many friends here, and obviously built the Alamo set out in Bracketville. And he was awarded this beautiful bust. It was a tribute to John Wayne from the people of Texas. And here you can see more about the America, Why I Love Her Grammy-nominated album. Here we have another one of my favorite quotations on the wall, because he truly was a man of the people. And as he's quoted saying, "When we all tear down the walls of bigotry and prejudice and live in real harmony with ourselves and others, then we'll all say, I am an American, pure and simple." And he loved people of all nationalities, and he loved talking to everybody, and he was so gracious and really interested in hearing the opinions of others, even if they disagreed with his. You know, he could have that conversation, and I believe he wanted to truly learn how others viewed situations and convey how he did, so that we could all become better and stronger as an American nation. And you know, these quotations are really, really important and really show you the man that he was.
I have always loved John Wayne. Everything from the Western movies and the culture to, more importantly, what he stood for and the real life quotes that I grew up on. My parents raised me on Westerns, and they raised me on that culture, and so just really seeing that and then bringing the person off the screen and just having such an incredible person to look up to, and those values and morals and patriotism and love for America and all of its people, I think is something that we could all learn from. We came here today because I have been to the John Wayne exhibit before, and I'm in town for work, and I actually wanted to bring my mom because she's never been, and I wanted to come back, and we thought we'd come check it out. I've always loved history, and I love working with veterans in my work and in my life. It's one of my favorite things I get to do, and so you kind of learn the figures that have also worked with veterans, that also have a love for America, that also have a love for history and patriotism. And growing up, you know, watching the films and then having that translate into realizing that, oh, this person has the same passions that I do, and they have the same quotes that I live by and that I believe in. And it's really great when you can actually look up to your heroes and go, oh, that's really truly actually someone I can look up to.
He embraced talking to every single person that he could, and he really wanted to learn about, you know, how you were raised, how's your job going, how's your day going, what do you think about this country. You know, he was very open to having the communication and the talking to work together to make the country a better place. What I want might not be what you want, but at least he was willing to come to the table, and he loved the fact that we had the freedom in this country to do that and not be persecuted.
Maybe it's the time that I'm a country music artist, and I love the values that John Wayne upholds so much that I felt so much of his character was encapsulated into the word grit, that I wrote a song about it.
Build a better life for your truck to park at night. You get it knocked around, you get up off the ground and handle it. It makes you who you are, and it'll take you far. That dirt up on your hands ain't messing with the plans when you think you're gonna quit, 'cause that's what gives you grit.
It is about toughing it out and having good character and having good values, and just even if the going's tough, keep on going. And that really truly all is encapsulated in, you know, you want to watch a John Wayne film, that's exactly what you're going to see.
Build a better life for your truck to park at night. Get it knocked around, you get up off the ground and handle it.
I think a lot of people, you know, kind of want to bring back the hard work and work ethic piece of it, and I think that couldn't be better exemplified than John Wayne.
I think he was such a hard worker because he really came from a very simple means. His childhood, they were poor, and he had to work if he wanted anything. And when he got into high school, he was in the debate club and the glee club and played football. Duke Morrison, which was his name before it was changed to John Wayne, and you see his life in high school and college. He was very active in every aspect of sports. He was a big guy, strong guy, and very athletic, and loved the outdoors. That's his college career, and he worked as a prop man at the studios in the summers, and he still had his prop man union card, so we have that there with some interesting correspondence and photographs. And then you look over on this side, and his first big movie was The Big Trail. And his first wife, Josephine Signs, here is a photo of them when they were young. They have 4 children together. And so this is just a little bit about his youth, his childhood. And then as you come through, you see another quotation by John Ford, beautiful photograph. He was so handsome. And you walk into this room, which has photographs of a lot of his leading ladies, leading men, friends. He was a work hard, play hard kind of guy. Hi, my brother Ethan just walked in. So everybody, this is John Ethan. He was Little Jake in Big Jake, and he is responsible for this beautiful exhibit. He and his team put it together and did a fabulous job. So if you see him walking around, tell him hi.
The team did it.
The team, your team, our team.
Okay.
All right, okay. We have some interactive screens here. You can press the button and it's different clips from different shows, Laugh-In, Lucy, and then here, look at this photograph with all these megastars. It's his anniversary from the Big Trail to True Grit, and I'm sure they devoured every bit of that cake because he had a sweet tooth. So my family and I come here quite a bit because of the exhibit, and I have a business in Dallas, so I'm back and forth to Texas all the time. But we come in May every year because May 26th is my dad's birthday, and the state of Texas has declared it officially John Wayne Day.
Welcome, pilgrim.
We are celebrating John Wayne's 116th birthday.
We come here, we have a party, we have celebrations, we have some birthday cake, and we still are able to get together and celebrate my dad, and we share that with his fans and friends that can come and join us, and that's why we're here this week.
We have Patrick Wayne, Ethan Wayne, Marisa Wayne, and Anita LaCava Swift all here to meet and greet the fans of John Wayne.
We sample our bourbon and our coffee and do some fun things here in the Stockyards. Happy 116th birthday to my dad. And then as you walk into this next room, I get the chills every time I walk in. It's just breathtaking. So this room is my favorite room. It's just breathtaking. As you walk in, you see these larger-than-life photographs of my dad in his different films throughout the years. You see him go from a young man, and as he grows through middle age, that looks like it's from the Cowboys. And then here we have his wardrobe from the many films. My favorite is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. You have the Cowboys, you have Sands of Iwo Jima, you have his Oscar here. He won Best Actor for True Grit, but he was nominated a handful of times and never won. And I asked him as a little girl, every time he'd finish a movie, I'd say, Dad, do you think this is the one that you're going to win the Oscar for, the Academy Award? And he's like, honey, I don't know. He's like, I do this because I love it, and it would be nice to have the honor from my peers, but that's not the reason why I do these movies. But then when you see he finally wins the Oscar, you can see he wipes a little tear from his eye, and it meant so much to him to just be recognized by his community and people that appreciate the craft. I think The Searchers is probably his most critically acclaimed movie, and that performance was just spectacular. But so is Rooster Cogburn. I mean, every movie was wonderful that he did. But I'm glad, as his daughter, that he finally got the recognition from his peers and he won his Oscar. It did mean a lot to him. And then the wall to our right is all his movies. And if you can look, you see so many films he made before 1939 when he made Stagecoach, which was the film that actually made him a big star. So you can see he was a guard, he was an extra, an extra, an extra, an extra. He had these small roles and he got to work on his craft. And when the opportunity came along for a starring role by John Ford, he took it and that was it. There was this star, movie star, launched into history.
My friends just call me Ringo. Nickname I had as a kid. Right name's Henry.
Seems to me I knew your family, Henry. Didn't I fix your arm once when you bucked off a horse?
Are you Doc Boone?
I certainly am. Now, let's see. I'd just been honorably discharged from the Union Army after the War of the Rebellion.
You mean the war for the Southern Confederacy, sir?
I mean nothing of the kind, sir.
That was my kid brother broke his arm. You did a good job, Doc, even if you was drunk.
Thank you, son. Professional compliments are always pleasing.
Yes, they are.
What happened to that boy whose arm I fixed?
He was murdered.
Here on this wall, I believe we have 169 films, but I'm sure there are some that are out there that we don't know about, but he was a very hardworking man.
This'll sound like I'm butting into your business, and I am. And you ought to give me a watch with a gold case for doing it. You dim-witted nail-bender, marry that girl.
Marry her? Why, I assure you my intention. Well, she knows how I feel.
How would she know? Stop yammering about shoeing horses. That's no way to talk to a girl. Talk to her about her, and marry her. And do it quick.
He wanted movies to be something that were family-friendly, that you left feeling better than when you walked in. You know, they had this formula of, you know, there's the good guy and the bad guy, and the good guy wins and rides away on the white horse and gets the girl, and you know, I think he felt that that was good for the moral fabric of our country, having that, and having that boys and women looking up to that strong, dignified, you know, man with integrity. And I would imagine that, you know, he looked for roles where he could portray that, you know, in a way that brought him as a human being into people's homes, you know, and there's the, you know, the little looks and the sense of humor and the soberness. But I would imagine that he was attracted to roles where he could make people feel better.
My favorite part is the letters. You know, when you walk around in the cases, you get to see the letters and you get to get a true grasp of what John Wayne stood for.
He loved correspondence. He would sit at his card table and dictate letters to his secretaries, and they'd type them out and he'd sign them, carbon copies, and they kept very good records. And you can see here, you know, a handwritten letter from a schoolboy. You never know what you would find. And when he was in the hospital, there were, you can see here, just bags and bags full of fan mail and get well cards and wishing you well. And we haven't had a chance to go through them all. Sometimes we have an event here at the Experience where somebody can pick a letter out and read it, and we'll switch them out so that hopefully one day we'll be able to have everything on display. But it was very important to him. If somebody took the time to write him, he wanted to take the time to answer and to respond. And he did that for hours and hours and hours a day when he wasn't on location. Here we have some more photographs. Here's him knocking on John Ford's door, like, okay, what movie are we gonna make now? What are we gonna do? What's our next project? This is the iconic scene from True Grit where he puts the reins in his mouth and he's got his guns blazing and he says, "Fill your hands, you son of a bitch," and goes running through the beautiful field. And this is from The Shootist, his last movie. That one's very near and dear to my heart. I spent a lot of time with him on that location and just kind of mirrors his life a little bit. You know, I think he had an inkling that he maybe had cancer while they were shooting. And he loved Ron Howard and working with Lauren Bacall and Jimmy Stewart. Great movie. Still tears me up every time. I just remember him being in pain and not feeling good, but he didn't complain about it. I never felt like he wasn't going to fight it. I mean, he did fight till the end. He could have gone home and died at home, but we stayed at the UCLA, at the hospital, so that they could try some experimental stuff, and he ended up passing away while he was in the hospital there. And I don't think he wanted to scare me, but he did, you know, he did say, I hate leaving you this young, you know, I'm sorry, I hate to leave you. This is a wall with the names of every surgical oncology fellow that was trained under the John Wayne name. So we have the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. My father, when he passed away of cancer, told us it was very important, if his name was good for anything, to use it to help people that had cancer and their families, and to help find a cure and treatment. And so we formed the John Wayne Cancer Foundation in 1985, and since then have been training surgeons to go off into the world, into their specialties. And each name on this wall represents one of our fellows and 300 to 400 patients a year that they're helping. So multiply that by the amount of doctors you see here. And that's the number of people my dad's name is still helping to this day. The best way to fight cancer is to prevent it. So we have a program that we fund called Block the Blaze. And we take the van all up and down the coasts, East Coast, West Coast, I think some Texas coast, and we hand out hats and sunscreen to all the junior guards, the junior lifeguards that are being trained in the summertime. And we teach them, wear your hat, wear your sunscreen, this is what, a suspicious mole looks like. And, great, be outside, be athletic, get your exercise, but also protect your skin. I think he'd be as proud as he is of his career. I think he'd be very proud of this and having his name under this legacy.